Have you ever looked at some people and just thought, how do they do it? They always seem to be, I don't know, a step ahead. Not just smart,
Yeah.
but actually successful,
Hmm.
especially with money. It feels like they've cracked some kind of code. Seeing opportunities, building wealth,
Hmm.
it almost looks easy sometimes. You might think, oh, they're just naturally brilliant. But what if it's not about genius? What if it's about, well, a specific way of learning to see things others just, well, miss? Things like hidden traps in the market, or maybe even million-dollar ideas hiding in plain sight.
That's exactly the angle we're taking today. It's a really fascinating connection.
Right. So this deep dive is all about exploring that link,
Right.
the one between constantly learning and actually building, lasting wealth. We've got two really insightful sources lined up. They cover the mindset you need, but also the practical stuff, the actual steps.
Yeah, the first one, Seven Paths to Lifelong Learning, gives us that sort of foundational blueprint, how to build that learning mindset. And then there's Wealth Building Insights. This one's great. It takes that mindset and shows how it applies in the real world. Lots of actionable financial strategies and honestly some pretty surprising aha moments in there.
Exactly. And this isn't about just, you know, reading more books or passively taking in info. It's about really changing how you learn and, crucially, how you apply what you learn to grow. Personally, yes, but also financially.
Yeah.
So if you want to absorb knowledge faster, deeper, and find those insights without feeling totally swamped, this is for you. All right, let's get into it.
Okay, so let's unpack this core idea first. From Seven Paths to Lifelong Learning. It's the growth mindset.
The growth mindset, right?
Yeah.
What does that actually mean in practice?
Well, it's more than just a nice thought. It's this fundamental belief that your abilities, your intelligence, they aren't fixed. You can develop them. It means seeing challenges not as roadblocks, but as like opportunities, invitations to grow. Every setback becomes a lesson.
So mistakes aren't failures, they're data.
Precisely. Data for improvement. It's about celebrating the effort, the process of learning, maybe even more than the final result. Understanding that hitting a wall is just a signal to try a different approach, to learn something new. It makes intelligence feel expandable, not limited.
And how does this connect to building wealth? That seems like a leap for some.
Oh, it connects directly. That second source, Wealth Building Insights, talks about this exact thing. They call it growth over genius. Their point is that the really successful people, financially speaking, aren't always the ones with the highest IQ scores.
Okay, interesting. So who are they?
They're the ones who deliberately build habits around being curious, around adapting, and importantly, around humility, being willing to admit you don't know everything and need to learn. So lifelong learning isn't just, a personal development thing. The source actually calls it one of the strongest wealth traits you can have.
A wealth trait. I like that because it fuels everything else.
Exactly. It's the fertile ground. It allows you to pivot when things change, to seek out new strategies instead of just getting stuck or giving up when you face an obstacle, which, let's face it, happens all the time in finance.
Okay, so we buy into the growth mindset. We know it's crucial. How do we, actively do it? What are the practical steps?
Seven Paths gives us a couple of really concrete actions. First one, keep a list of things to explore.
Like a curiosity list.
Yeah, basically. A personal learning journal, maybe. Just a running list of questions you have, topics that spark your interest, skills you want to develop. It sounds simple, but it actively trains your brain to seek out the new. It makes learning feel self-directed, not like homework. An evolving journey.
Okay, I can see that. What's the second action?
The second is about setting clear learning goals. And this is where the SMART framework comes in. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Right. SMART goals. So not just learn about stocks.
Exactly. It's more like, okay, by the end of this month, I will read 2 recommended books on index funds and outline my basic investment strategy. Breaking those big ambitions down into smaller, manageable steps. It keeps you motivated. You can actually see your progress. And it stops you from feeling overwhelmed by this huge mountain of information.
That makes a lot of sense. That feeling of overwhelm can really kill momentum, can it?
Totally. And without those clear targets, it's just too easy to drift. But okay, say you have your goals. Now what? How do you actually engage with the learning material?
Yeah, how do you make it stick?
Well, Seven Paths really stresses embracing curiosity and critical thinking. This isn't passive. It's not just reading or watching. It's about asking the deeper questions, the whys and hows, pushing beyond the surface level.
So questioning things, debating.
Yes, engaging in discussions, even friendly debates. Working through problems, that's what sharpens your analytical skills. It broadens your perspective because you're not just accepting information, you're wrestling with it. testing it, making it truly your own. And that's absolutely vital if you want to apply it effectively, especially to something complex like building wealth.
Right. But that sounds like it could be kind of isolating, wrestling with ideas alone.
But you don't have to. That leads perfectly into the next point. Creating a supportive learning environment.
Okay, so finding your people.
Essentially, yes. Surrounding yourself with encouragement, but also, importantly, constructive feedback. The source talks about seeking out mentors, people who've already navigated the path you're on, or collaborating with peers. Imagine having a small group to discuss investment ideas or market trends with. You share knowledge, you challenge each other, you keep each other motivated. It prevents costly mistakes sometimes, too.
That community aspect sounds really powerful. It accelerates things, doesn't it?
Immensely. And it connects to this idea of modeling lifelong learning. It's not just about your growth. When you openly share what you're learning, the successes, sure, but also the struggles, the failures, and you show you're open and curious, that encourages others.
Ah, so it creates ripples.
Exactly. It fosters this culture of continuous growth around you in your team, your family, your network. Everyone benefits. It reinforces your own commitment, too, actually.
That ripple effect is key. But for any of this to work, for the learning to actually integrate, there's one more crucial piece, right?
Yes, and it's often the one people skip. 7 Paths calls it reflect and manage time intentionally. Think about it. Learning without taking time to process is like reading a cookbook, but never actually cooking anything.
Good analogy. So schedule time to think.
Schedule time to think. Yes. Regularly step back. Ask yourself, what did I really learn here? How does this apply to my life, my goals? And it's not just mental, it's practical. You have to carve out dedicated time in your schedule. For learning, yes, but maybe even more importantly, for applying it, taking action. So many people consume endless information, but never bridge that gap to application.
Okay, so we've got the mindset, the methods, the importance of community and reflection. Now, let's connect this squarely to building wealth. This is where Wealth Building Insights comes in with some potentially eye-opening stuff. Where do we start?
Let's start with something that might feel familiar, maybe painfully so to anyone who's tried trading. The source states it bluntly. Trading isn't always fair.
Tell me more.
You know that feeling, you place a trade, you've done your research, looks good, and bam. The second you click buy or sell, the price just whipsaws against you.
Oh, yes. That feeling of awful timing. Like the market is personally out to get you.
Right. You think it's just bad luck. But the source says, maybe not entirely. There's often a missing piece to that puzzle for retail traders.
Okay, what's the missing piece?
Institutions. Big players. They simply don't play by the same rules we do. They have the volume to move markets, and sometimes they use it to create, well, fake outs.
Fake outs, like false signals.
Exactly. False moves designed to trick individual traders, to trigger emotional reactions like panic selling or fear of missing out buying. They set psychological traps to shake retail traders out of their positions, often right before the real move happens.
Wow. Okay, that explains a lot of frustration.
It does. The source shares this really powerful story about a trader attending something called E. Adjourn's Masterclass. Apparently, this program focuses specifically on understanding institutional behavior. And this trader had a breakthrough. They realized their trading setups weren't failing because the analysis was wrong, but because they were reacting to these deliberately manipulated moves.
So they were being played.
Essentially. There's a quote from one of the students. Jorn's insights helped me stop being manipulated by the market. I now trade with confidence, patience, and clarity. It's a perfect example, isn't it? Targeted learning about the real game being played completely changed their outcome. It shifted them from feeling like a victim of the market to understanding the strategy needed.
That's huge. Learning not just the basics, but the hidden dynamics. What other practical things does Wealth Building Insights uncover?
Well, it tackles why most budgeting apps fail.
Oh, I have opinions on this. They promise so much.
Right. But often they just overcomplicate things. You end up drowning in tracking every tiny expense, every coffee. The source suggests the key isn't the flashy interface. It's finding a system that actually works for human behavior. Many fail because they demand constant, tedious input, or they focus on pennies instead of dollars, making them totally unsustainable.
So if your budgeting app feels like a chore you constantly fail at, maybe it's the app, not you.
Could be. The insight is about finding sustainable systems, not just more data entry. It also dives into the classic debate, real estate versus stock market, but it doesn't just say one is better.
No definitive answer.
No, it's more nuanced. It compares them side by side, focusing on helping you figure out which fits your situation. Your risk tolerance, your timeline, your lifestyle. Like, do you value tangible assets and potential rental income, even if it means less liquidity? Maybe real estate, preferred diversification, easy access, daily trading, maybe stocks. Learning these differences lets you choose strategically.
Informed choices, not just following trends. Makes sense.
And then there's how affiliates really get paid. It demystifies affiliate marketing.
Right, that whole world of earning commissions online.
Yeah, it breaks down the mechanics, digital word of mouth, essentially. You promote something, someone buys through your link, you get a cut. The source explains how it works, platforms you might try, and importantly, sets realistic expectations. It's
Yeah.
specific, actionable knowledge for exploring new income streams.
Good to have clarity on that. And what about real estate again? Is it still considered solid?
The source argues yes. Why real estate is still one of the best investments, even with market fluctuations. It highlights the long-term strengths. Potential rental income providing cash flow, asset appreciation over time, and often a sense of stability, even generational wealth building. It can be a strong hedge against inflation.
So these examples,
Mm-hmm.
they're not just random tips, are they?
Not at all. They tie right back to that growth over genius idea. This is what happens when you apply a learning mindset to finance. You start understanding the mechanisms, how markets really work, why budgets fail, how different assets behave, how income streams are built. You move beyond just reacting to headlines or emotions.
You become informed, adaptable, humble enough to learn the specifics.
Exactly. You learn the strategies, understand the systems. You shift from being reactive to being proactive, equipped, in control.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. There's another source mentioned, Rich Reads Real Wealth. Looking at Ramit Sethi's I Will Teach You to Be Rich.
Yeah, this one sounds different. It is a very different vibe. The big idea from Ramit is basically stop agonizing over small stuff like lattes. Build wealth by automating your finances and focusing on the big wins.
Big wins like.
Negotiating your salary, getting lower interest rates on loans, investing early and consistently, especially in tax-advantaged accounts like a Roth IRA, where your investments grow tax-free, and qualified withdrawals in retirement are also tax-free. That's a huge long-term advantage.
And his famous line.
Ah, yes, the hot take. Buy the damn latte, just make sure you're maxing your Roth IRA. It's provocative, right? Challenges all that frugal to the point of misery advice.
It really does. It's about learning to prioritize, learning where your effort makes the most impact. Smarter, not just harder.
Precisely. And the reason his approach resonates and works for so many people is crucial. Why do most budgets fail?
Willpower. Mine runs out by lunchtime some days.
Exactly. We rely on willpower, and it's notoriously unreliable. Ramit's system, as highlighted in the source, cleverly replaces willpower with automation. You set up automatic transfers, paycheck hits, boom, money goes to savings. Boom, money goes to investments like that Roth IRA. Boom, bills get paid.
So it just happens.
It just happens. Effortlessly. Friction-free progress. It sidesteps the need for constant discipline or remembering. It's a systemic fix for a common human failing. Brilliant application of critical thinking to behavior, really.
Okay, automation for the win. Now, for something completely different, a really unexpected path to wealth mentioned in Wealth Whiz, did you know? Santa Mail.
Right. This one's fascinating. Byron Reese. The source explains how he took this simple, nostalgic tradition, kids getting letters from Santa Claus, and turned it into $1 million business.
Seriously, just sending letters.
Well, yes, but think about what he was really selling. Not just paper and ink. He was monetizing a cherished childhood experience. Joy. Magic. Memories.
Oh, okay. The aha moment here is.
It's that huge financial opportunities aren't always about complex tech or groundbreaking inventions. Sometimes, wealth comes from finding creative ways to package and deliver simple, heartfelt experiences that people already value. It's about learning to see value where others might just see, well, letters. It's applying curiosity and critical thinking outside traditional finance, recognizing unmet emotional needs and desires and building something around them, a totally different kind of market.
That really broadens the definition of wealth creation. It's not just stocks and bonds.
Not at all. Sometimes it's about creating magic.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, we've covered a lot of ground from mindset shifts to market manipulation to Santa Claus. What's the main takeaway here?
I think the core message is crystal clear. Lifelong learning isn't just this nice-to-have personal growth thing. It's a direct, incredibly powerful engine for building knowledge, yes, but also confidence and ultimately tangible wealth.
It's about cultivating those habits we talked about. Curiosity, adaptability.
And humility. Being
Yes.
willing to learn. Realizing that every new insight, every skill mastered, is like laying another brick in your financial foundation.
Right. So whether you're trying to understand complex market forces,
Mhm.
or simplifying your life with automation, or even spotting a unique business idea.
That ability to learn and adapt is your single most valuable asset. That wealth building insight source had a great phrase for the small wins, the insights you gain along the way. It called them breadcrumbs leading back to purpose, little clues guiding you forward.
Breadcrumbs leading back to purpose. I like that. It makes the journey feel less daunting.
Mm.
Okay, so final thought for everyone listening.
Maybe think about this. If you've ever felt stuck, like you're doing everything you're supposed to do financially, but you're still not getting ahead, still feeling like you're losing somehow,
Yeah.
perhaps the answer isn't just trying harder. Perhaps the missing piece is a different kind of understanding. A new way of learning that lets you see the game differently, play it more effectively, a way that empowers you to be proactive, not just reactive.
So the question becomes, what's the next breadcrumb you're going to consciously look for and follow on your learning journey, knowing that single insight could be the key to your next big breakthrough?